I'll pay for it. This is my money, not the store's. The grocery store was busy Saturday afternoon. Long lines, tired people, everyone just trying to get home. A man stood at register for simple clothes, worn jacket, a small basket of groceries, rice, beans, cooking oil, bread, basic things, survival things. He patted his pockets. Then he patted them again. "I'm sorry," he said to the cashier. "I think I forgot my wallet." The woman behind him in line exploded. "Are you serious right now? Some of us have places to be. Move out of the way." The store manager rushed over. "Sir, if you can't pay, you need to step aside." Everyone was staring. Everyone was judging. And then the cashier did something no one expected. She reached into her own pocket, pulled out a crumpled $20 bill, her lunch money, her only money for the day, and she paid for his groceries. And the man looked at her, and what he did next made the whole store go silent. "My name is Dio. I am the founder and chairman of Diallo Holdings. I own this building. Now, before I tell you what happened next, check that subscribe button. If you love stories where the humble rise and the proud fall, hit it right now and turn on notifications. Because the payback in this story, it is going to be legendary. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. Dio had spent 30 years building an empire, and one afternoon in a grocery store would change his life forever. But let me tell you about the man first. At 52 years old, IA was the founder and chairman of Dio Holdings, a conglomerate worth $3.7 billion. Real estate, shipping, technology. His fingerprints were on half the buildings in Atlanta, but you wouldn't know it by looking at him. Unlike most wealthy men, Baena didn't dress the part. No flashy watches, no designer suits for grocery runs, no entourage following him around. He wore simple clothes, drove himself, carried his own bags. Money is not a costume, his father used to say, back in Segale. A man who needs the world to see his wealth has nothing else to show. Ikenna had come to America at 19 from St. Louis, Segale, a fisherman's son who had never seen a building taller than 3 stories. His father Musadia was the wisest man he ever knew, a quiet man who fixed fishing nets with scarred hands and spoke in proverbs that Aya only understood years later. "My son, a river does not drink its own water, a tree does not eat its own fruit. The sun does not shine for itself. Living for others is the rule of nature." His mother Fatu sold fish at the market, and she could calculate prices faster than any machine. And she could read a person's character in 30 seconds. Watch how a person treats someone who can do nothing for them. She told Akina when he was 12. That is who they truly are. Those words became his compass. They guided him through the struggle of building a business in a country that didn't know his name. Through the betrayals, through the fake friendships, through the women who loved his money more than his soul. B52 Ikena had everything except the one thing he wanted most. A wife, not a trophy, not a business arrangement. Not a woman who saw dollar signs when she looked at him. A partner, a real one. Someone who would love the fisherman's son, not the billionaire. He had tried. God knows he had tried. 3 serious relationships in 15 years. And each one ended the same way. The first woman, Celine, had been perfect, beautiful, smart, ambitious. But when Akena's shipping company hit a rough patch, and he lost $200 million in 1 quarter, she was gone within a month. "I didn't sign up for uncertainty. Anna, call me when things stabilize." "Things stabilize?" she called. He didn't answer. The second, Monique, lasted 2 years. She was warm, attentive, present until Anna discovered she had been funneling money to her ex-boyfriend through a fake charity. $450,000 gone. When confronted, she shrugged. "You have billions. You didn't even notice." The third, Adena, was the worst. She had seemed perfect, kind, humble, a nurse who volunteered at free clinics on weekends, until Akena found the prenup she had been secretly drafting with her lawyer. And before he had even proposed, it included a clause guaranteeing her $50 million if they divorced within 5 years. She was planning the exit before the entrance. After Adana Ikena stopped trying, he focused on work, on he being back, on his foundation that built schools in West Africa. But at night in his house in Druid Hills, A beautiful home that echoed with emptiness. He felt the loneliness like a weight on his chest. His driver, Siku, was the only person who saw it. Sik had been with Ikena for 12 years. A fellow Senegalese, loyal, honest, the kind of man who said little but saw everything. "Boss, you need someone." "I have you, Siku. I'm your driver, not your wife, and my cooking is terrible." Ikena laughed, but the laughter faded quickly. Then one evening, his mother called from San Luis. She was 81 now, frail, but her mind was sharper than ever. "Ikena, my son, I had a dream about you last night." "What kind of dream, Mama?" "I dreamed you were standing in a market, surrounded by food, but you were hungry because you were looking at the expensive stalls. You kept walking past the small ones, the ones with the real nourishment." "Mama, I don't understand." "You are looking for love in the wrong places, my son. Stop looking at the gala. Stop looking at the boardroom. Look where nobody else looks. Love hides in plain sight." Italwe says, "How will I know when I find it?" "You will know because she will give you something she cannot afford to lose, and she will do it without being asked." Akina sat with those words for 3 days, and on the 4th day, Eada plan. Akina's plan was simple, beautifully, painfully simple. He would go to an ordinary place, dress in ordinary clothes, carry no wallet, no cards, no identification, and he would see what happened. Not at a charity gala, not at a corporate event, not in a world where people performed kindness for cameras. In a grocery store, the most ordinary place on earth. "You want to do what?" Zeke stared at him. "I want to go grocery shopping without money." "Boss, you own 14 buildings. You can not just I want to see what people do when a manku yuente for rice and bread." "Zeke, I want to see who helps and who judges." Zeke was quiet for a moment. "Your mother told you to do this, didn't she?" "She told me to look where nobody else looks." "And you chose the grocery store. What's more ordinary than a grocery store?" Zeke sighed. Which store?" "The Fresh Mart on Cascade Road, Southwest Atlanta. Regular neighborhood. Regular people." "And what do I do?" "You wait in the parking lot. Watch. Don't interfere. No matter what happens. And if someone recognizes you," smiled, "nobody looks twice at an ordinary man in a grocery store. That's the whole point." A faded blue button-down shirt. An ordinary man. Nobody special. Nobody worth a second glance. "Perfect." Siku dropped him 2 blocks from the Fresh Mart. The Fresh Mart on Cascade Road was exactly what you'd expect. A neighborhood grocery store. Not fancy, not run down, just normal. Automatic doors, fluorescent lights, the smell of fresh bread from the bakery section, shopping carts with wobbly wheels. He picked up simple things. A bag of rice, dried beans, a bottle of cooking oil, a loaf of bread, some onions, and tomatoes. Basic things. The kind of things his mother used to buy at the market in St. Louis. He walked to the checkout area. Saturday afternoon, the store was packed. Every register had a line. Ikena chose register 4, and that's where he met them. The 2 women who would change everything, and her name was Chiaka Uday. And she was already having the worst day of her life. Chamaka Mamaki, to her friends, was 45 years old. A large woman with an expensive weave, acrylic nails, and a permanent scowl that could curdle milk. She worked as a regional manager for a beauty supply chain, made good money, drove a leased Lexus, wore labels she couldn't quite afford, and she believed with every fiber of her being that she was better than everyone around her. "Excuse me," she tapped Kenna's shoulder. "The express lane is over there. This line is for people who are actually buying things." Akina looked at his basket. 6 items. "I think this line is fine. I think you're holding everyone up. Some of us have important things to do." She said important, like it was a weapon, and like her time was gold and his was dirt. Akina said nothing. He turned back around. Kimaka huffed loudly, checked her phone, huffed again. The line moved slowly. Kimaka's phone rang. She answered it on speaker full volume in the middle of the store. "Girl, you won't believe where I am right now." standing in line at this cheap grocery store because my usual place was closed. The people in here, Zara, I can't. Okina could feel her eyes on his back. There's this man in front of me. Looks like he just crawled out of AI. Don't even know. And he's taking forever. The other shoppers shifted uncomfortably. An elderly man behind Kiyamaka shook his head quietly. A mother with 2 children pretended not to hear, but everyone heard. Kiyamaka didn't care. She wanted everyone to hear. Finally, Aikana reached the front of the line, and that's when he met her. Her name tag said, Nah. Obi, 26 years old. Slim. Dark skin. The color of rich earth after rain. Natural hair cut short and close to her head. No makeup. No jewelry except a thin chain with a small cross. She had the kind of face that didn't demand attention but earned it. Quiet eyes that noticed everything. A gentle mouth that smiled easily, even when she was tired. And she was always tired. Nika worked 2 jobs, from 6 o'clock a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. She was a cashier at fresh minimum wage, plus whatever scraps of overtime she could get, from 4:00 p.m. to 11 p.m. She cleaned offices at a commercial building downtown. Between the 2 jobs, she was putting herself through night school accounting. She had 2 semesters left, as she lived in a small 1-bedroom apartment in East Point with her younger brother, Toba, who was 16. And the reason she worked so hard, their parents had died in a car accident 4 years ago back in Nigeria. Inoguna had been in America on a work visa. Toba had been sent to live with an aunt in Lagos. But the aunt was cruel. Beat him, starved him, treated him like a servant. Na had spent 2 years and every penny she had getting Toba to America legally. Immigration, lawyers, paperwork, fees. A process that nearly broke her financially and emotionally. But she did it because that's what you do for family. Now they lived together. She worked. He studied. She made sure he had everything he needed. Even when she had nothing left for herself. Some days she skipped lunch so Toba could have dinner. But some nights she went to bed hungry so he could go to school with a full stomach. She never complained. "Good afternoon, sir," Naya said with a warm smile as Akina placed his items on the belt. "Good afternoon." She began scanning his items. Rice, beans, oil, bread, onions, tomatoes. "Cooking something good tonight?" she asked, making conversation being human. "I hope so. My mother's recipe tibwin." "Oh, that's Senor Galas. Right? I've never tried it, but I heard it's delicious." "You know, Senor Galas food. I know food is love. Doesn't matter which country it comes from." Akena smiled, a real smile. The first one in weeks. Neka finished scanning. "Your total is $2,347, sir." Okena reached into his jacket pocket, then his pants pocket, then his other jacket pocket. His face changed. Confusion, and then embarrassment. I think I forgot my wallet." He patted every pocket, checked his jacket lining. Nothing. "I'm so sorry. I must have left it at home. I don't have any money." Behind him, Kiyomaka erupted. "Oh, you have got to be kidding me." The store seemed to hold its breath. "Are you serious right now?" Kimaka's voice cut through the air like a machete. "Some of us have been waiting in this line for 15 minutes, and you don't even have money." Ikena's face flushed with genuine embarrassment. "I'm sorry. Primera rea, li, Masav. What? Must have thought groceries are free. Must have thought you could waste everyone's time." She turned to the other shoppers, arms spread wide, performing for an audience. "Can you believe this? This man comes in here looking like that and doesn't even have money to pay. What is this? A homeless shelter." The store manager, a thin, nervous man named Gerald, rushed over. "What's the problem here?" "This man." Chamaka pointed at Akina like he was evidence in a court case. "Doesn't have money. He's holding up the entire line. Get him out of here." Gerald looked at Akina apologetically. "Sir, if you can't pay, I'm going to have to ask you to step aside so we can pay for it. Everyone turned. Nah. The cashier. She was already reaching into the pocket of her work apron. She pulled out a crumpled $20 bill and some coins. Her lunch money, the only cash she had on her until her next paycheck in 4 days. Nah, you can't do that, Gerald said. Store policy doesn't. I'm not using the store's money. I'm using mine. She smoothed the 20 on the counter and counted out the coins. $2, $3, $4, $7, exactly. She slid the money into the register and began bagging at Kenna's groceries. The store went quiet, not the normal quiet of people minding their business. A different quiet, the quiet of people witnessing something they didn't expect. The quiet of shame, because every single person in that line, including Chamaka, had watched a man struggle, and not one of them had moved, except the cashier, the one making minimum wage, the one who couldn't afford to lose that $20. She gave it without hesitation, without calculation, without expecting anything in return. Kimaka broke the silence first. Well, that was your money to waste, I guess. But some of us aren't stupid enough to throw money at strangers. Na didn't respond to her. She finished bagging the groceries and handed them to Akina. Here you go, sir. You have a good evening. Akina stared at her. He had been tested 3 times in his life, by women who wanted his money. Now, he was being tested by a woman who gave hers away. Why did you do that? He asked quietly. Do what? Pay for my groceries. You don't know me, Na shrugged. Simple. Honest. You were hungry. You needed food. I had money. It's not complicated. But that was your lunch money. I've skipped lunch before. I'll survive. She smiled. Besides, my mama always said, the hand that gives is the hand that receives. I believe that. Akina's eyes burned. He blinked hard. Thank you, Neka. You're welcome, sir. I now go cook that chibut. I bet your mama's recipe is amazing. He picked up his bags and walked toward the exit. Every eye in the store followed him, but at the door, he stopped. He turned around and he walked back to register 4. The whole store watched. Chimaka rolled her eyes. Oh, what now? Ikena set his bags down on the counter. He looked at Na. Then he looked at the security camera above the register. Then he reached into the inside lining of his jacket, the hidden pocket that nobody knew about, and pulled out a phone. A very expensive phone. He pressed one button. Seek. Bring the car to the front, and bring the envelope. 30 seconds later, a black Mercedes S-Class pulled up to the store entrance. Sik stepped out in a tailored suit, walked in seat, and handed Akina a leather envelope. And the store went dead silent, because the man in the worn jacket and wrinkled khakis had just summoned a Mercedes and a driver in a suit. Ikena opened the envelope. Inside was a business card. He placed it on the counter in front of Na. My name is Ikena Diallo. I am the founder and chairman of Dio Holdings. He paused. I own this building. I own the shopping center across the street. I own 14 commercial properties in this zip code alone. The color drained from Kiyamaka's face. The store manager's jaw dropped. Every shopper in line stood frozen. I came here today with no wallet on purpose. I wanted to see what would happen when a man couldn't pay for rice and bread. I wanted to see who would help and who would judge. He looked at Chimaka. You judged. Chimaka's mouth opened. Nothing came out, and he looked at the other shoppers. You watched. They looked away, ashamed. He looked at Na. And you gave me everything you had. Na's hands were trembling. Her eyes were wide. You make minimum wage. You work 2 jobs. You're putting yourself through school. And when a stranger couldn't pay for groceries, you didn't hesitate. You didn't calculate. You didn't ask what was in it for you. You hoosed Gabe. He stepped closer. My mother told me I would know real love when someone gives me something they can't afford to lose, and they do it without being asked. Tears formed in Na's eyes. You gave me your lunch money. Nah. The only cash you had for 4 days for a stranger you thought had nothing. The store was so silent, you could hear the hum of the refrigerators. Ah. That $20 bill is worth more to me than every building I own, because it was given with a pure heart. Na covered her mouth with her hand, tears streaming. The elderly man behind Chiaka began to clap, then the mother with 2 children, then the bag boy at the end of the counter, then the whole store. A standing ovation in a grocery store on Cascade Road. Kimaka stood in the middle of it all, shrinking, wishing the floor would open and swallow her whole. The video went viral, not because IA wanted it to, because someone in the store had filmed the whole thing on their phone. Billionaire reveals identity after cashier pays for his groceries. 22 million views in 3 days. Every news outlet in the country wanted the story, but Akena didn't care about the video, and he cared about what happened next. After the store, Akina had asked Nika one question. "Can I take you for coffee? I'd like to hear your story." She had looked at him with those quiet, steady eyes. "I can't. I have my second job in 2 hours. I clean offices downtown. Tomorrow then I work tomorrow too." "When is your next day off?" She thought about it. "Thursday, I think. Thursday. I'll come to you." Name the place. There's a small cafe on Jonesboro Road. Nothing fancy, but the coffee is good and the owner is kind. Perfect. Thursday came. Ekina arrived at the cafe in simple clothes. No Mercedes. No Siku. He drove himself in an old Honda he kept for exactly these occasions. Nika was already there, sitting in a corner booth wearing a yellow sundress that she had probably ironed 3 times at her only nice outfit. She stood when she saw him. "I wasn't sure you'd actually come. I wasn't sure you'd actually be here." They both smiled. He sat down, she sat down, and they talked for 4 hours. Neka told him about Anugu, about her parents, about the phone call that shattered her world. The police telling her that her mother and father had died on the Lagos-Benin Expressway. "I was here in America, working, sending money home, and they died on a highway I'll never see. I didn't get to say goodbye." Akina reached across the table and held her hand. She didn't pull away. She told him about Tabina, about the aunt who beat him, about the 2 years of immigration battles to bring him to America. He's 16 now. Smart. So smart. He wants to be an engineer. Can you imagine? "I can imagine," I said, "because I was a boy from St. Louis who became a builder in America." She told him about working 2 jobs, about night school, about the days when she ate nothing so Toba could eat everything. "Why accounting?" Ikina asked. "Because numbers don't lie. People lie. Numbers tell the truth. I want to build something honest one day. A business where the numbers are clean and the people are treated fairly." Akina stared at her. This woman, this cashier who made minimum wage and cleaned offices at night and skipped meals for her brother and gave her last $20 to a stranger. She had a dream, and it was a good one. "Nika, I need to tell you something." "What?" "That day in the store, I didn't forget my wallet." She looked at him. "Ooh. No, you know, I suspected when you pulled out that phone from your jacket. I thought that pocket worked fine. The wallet pocket probably did, too. And you're not angry." "Why would I be angry? You were looking for something real." "I understand that. Most people would be furious. Most people didn't grow up watching their mother sell fish in a market. My mama could spot a lie from across the street. But she also taught me that sometimes people test you because they've been hurt. And the only answer to a test is to be yourself. Your mother was wise. She was a fish seller from Enugu. But she knew more about people than anyone with a degree." They both laughed. And in that small cafe on Jonesboro Road, over cheap coffee and honest conversation, something real began. Well, something beautiful grew between Akina and Ane. Something ugly was happening to Kiyamaka. The viral video had identified her. Rude woman humiliates poor man in grocery store. Doesn't know he's a billionaire. Her face, her voice, her words, all captured in high definition. Some of us have places to be. What is this? A homeless shelter. Some of us aren't stupid enough to throw money at strangers. The internet was merciless. Her name trended on Twitter for 2 days. Her employer received hundreds of complaints. Her social media was flooded with angry comments. She tried to fight back. She posted a video. Tears, apologies, explanations. I was having a bad day. That's not who I am. I'm a good person. I go to church every Sunday. Nobody believed her because the store video showed exactly who she was, and not someone having a bad day. Someone who looked at a man in worn clothes and decided he was less than human. Her employer, the beauty supply chain, Kayed in Chamaka, the board has reviewed the situation. Given the public response and the damage to our brand, we're terminating your contract effective immediately. You can't fire me over a grocery store video. We can, and we are. Your behavior doesn't align with our company values. Values. I've given this company 7 years, and in 30 seconds, you showed the world who you really are. She was escorted out of the building. Her leased Lexus was repossessed 2 weeks later when she couldn't make the payments. Her friends, the Zara and the bottle poppers, disappeared faster than her paycheck. Within a month, that Chimaka went from regional manager to job seeker. Nobody would hire her because in the age of the internet, your worst moment lives forever. But the story wasn't over. Not for Chimaka, and not for anyone. Because fate had one more lesson to teach. 6 months had passed and everything had changed. Ikena and Enna had taken things slowly. No rushing, no pressure, no grand gestures. Just two people getting to know each other. He visited her cafe every Thursday. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they just sat together and read. He never tried to overwhelm her with money. Never sent expensive gifts. Never tried to change who she was because who she was exactly what he wanted. But he did 3 things. First, he paid for Na's remaining 2 semesters of school. Not as a gift, as a loan. I'm not a charity case. I know. That's why. It's a loan. Pay me back when you're a successful accountant. And if I can't pay it back, then cook me Thai boy. We'll call it even. She laughed. Then she accepted. Second, he set up a scholarship fund for Tabina. Full ride. Any university he could get into. When Tenna found out, he sat at the kitchen table and cried, "Sis, is this real?" "It's real." "Toby? I'm going to be an engineer. You're going to be whatever you want to be." Third, and this was the one that meant the most, Akina connected Na with his company's accounting department. Not as a hire, as a mentee. I don't want to give you a job. I want to give you knowledge. So when you start your own business, you'll know exactly what you're doing. You believe I can start my own business. Nah, you gave your last $20 to a stranger. A woman with that kind of heart can build anything. Neka graduated from night school 4 months later. Top of her class, Akina was in the front row, Seek beside him. Toba, on the other side, clapping so hard his hands turned red. After the ceremony, Ikena took Na to dinner, not a fancy restaurant. The same cafe on Jonesboro Road. Same corner booth, same cheap coffee. "Why here?" Na asked. "You could take me anywhere in the world, because this is where you became real to me. This booth, this coffee, this is where I fell in love with you." Na's eyes glistened. "Akina, I'm not done." He reached into his pocket. "I had a ring custom made, but it's not a diamond. It's not expensive." He opened the box, a simple gold band, thin, elegant. I'd engraved on the inside. She looked at the engraving. $2,347. The exact amount she had paid for his groceries. That number changed my life. Hakena Saeed, $2,347, given by a woman who had nothing to a man she thought had nothing. That is the most valuable transaction in the history of my company. Tears rolled down Na's face. "Will you marry me?" "Nah, not the billionaire. Not Dio Holdings. Miyakina, the fisherman's son from St. Louis who forgot his wallet in a grocery store." She laughed through her tears. "You didn't forget your wallet. I found something better." "Yes," she whispered, 1,000 times. "Yes." He slipped the ring on her finger, and in that small cafe, with no cameras, no audience, no performance, 2 people who had spent their whole lives looking for something real finally found it. But the story has one more chapter. Remember, Shamaka. 3 months after the engagement, Nia was behind the counter at Fresh Mart. She had kept the job even after everything. Even after Ikena. You don't need to work here anymore, Ikena had said. I know, but this register is where I met you. I'm not ready to leave it yet. One Tuesday afternoon, a woman walked in. She looked different from before. No expensive weave, no acrylic nails, no leased Lexus. In the parking lot, simple clothes, tired eyes, the look of someone who had been humbled by life. Kiyamaka, she walked through the store slowly, picked up a few items, rice, beans, bread, basic things. She came to register 4 and froze because Na was behind the counter and their eyes met. Kiyamaka's face crumbled. I didn't know you still worked here. I do. Silence. Chimaka placed her items on the belt. Neka scanned them. Your total is $14.82. Chimaka opened her purse, counted her money carefully. She was $3 short. She started to put the bread back. I don't need the bread. Now reached into her apron pocket. The same apron pocket. She pulled out a $5 bill and she paid the difference. Chimaka stared at her. Why? Her voice cracked. After what I said to you, after what I called you, after everything I did, why would you help me? Nea smiled. The same warm, quiet, genuine smile she had given Akina 6 months ago. Because you're hungry, you need food. Primera. Ave. Money. It's not complicated. The same words Kimaka broke are right there at register 4. Tears pouring down her face. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. I was horrible. I was everything wrong with the world. And you're everything right. Na reached across the counter and held her hand. We all have bad days. Some of us have bad years, but it's never too late to change. Sister, never. Kimaka took her groceries and something else. A lesson she would carry for the rest of her life. Ikena and Nei were married 3 months later. Not at the Ritz-Carlton. Not at a gala. At the Fresh Mart on Cascade Road. They rented the store for a Sunday evening. Pushed the shelves aside. Set up chairs between the aisles. Hung string lights from the ceiling. The guest list was 50 people. Store employees. Regular customers. Toba, Psycho, and the elderly man who had started the applause that day. And behind register 4 where it all began, and Na said their vows. Ikena, Dio take you, na obi to be, my wife. I don't promise you diamonds. I promise you rice and beans and bread. I promise you the things that matter. I promise you truth. I na obi take you, Ikinao, to be my husband. I promise to love the fisherman's son, not the billionaire. I promise to always have $2,347 in my pocket just in case. Everyone laughed. Then everyone cried. Akena's mother watched on video call from St. Louis. She was weeping. Mama, why are you crying? Because she is the one from my dream. The small stall with a real nourishment. You finally stopped walking past. Toba was the best man and he gave a speech that brought the house down. My sister works 2 jobs. She skipped meals so I could eat. She fought for 2 years to bring me to America. And when a stranger couldn't pay for groceries, she didn't think twice. That's not kindness. That's who she is. And if this man is smart enough to see that, then he deserves her. Standing ovation in a grocery store. Na started her own accounting firm the following year. Obi Financial Services. Her first client was a small grocery store on Cascade Road. She never charged them. As for Kiyamaka, she got a new job. Entry-level, humble, as a cashier at a different Fresh Mart. She never complained about a customer again. Some lessons take time, but the ones that hurt the most stick the longest. And the lesson of this tale, a river does not drink its own water. A tree does not eat its own fruit. The sun does not shine for itself. And the richest person in the room is never the one with the biggest wallet. It is the one with the biggest heart. Remember that the next time someone in front of you can't pay, don't judge. Help. Because you never know who's watching, and you never know what that $20 might be worth. If this story moved your heart, subscribe and hit that notification bell because every tale has a lesson and modern African folktales never forgets.